Hey, Tony from BikeBerry here. It's good to see you. Today's going to be a little different. What we're going to do is we're going to just discuss this engine seizing up issue that some people have. Now, so this is video number 2. What we're doing is we're discovering different people's troubles that they've had and to find a proper solution for them. But before I start that, I know, you're probably thinking, Tony, are you crazy? You're wearing orange next to a pink bike. That doesn't go. I know, I get it. But we'll roll with it today. I just thought this was a good example because we got a 2-stroke on here. Behind it is the 4-stroke, and I didn't really want to show that because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 2-strokes today. So, engine seizing number 2. That's this video. Let's roll. So in video 1 that we'll put here, you'll see that people have commented in there with their experience, the things they've run into, and the reasons why this can happen. So let's dive into what Keegan has to say about it. He says, glad to see some more videos, brother. Most of the time, the reason the chrome cylinder seize is because of the carb being jetted too lean, not enough oil. Or dirt getting sucked through the air filter and scoring the cylinder walls. So junk gets in there, it goes up and down, it grinds up lines in the wall and ends up wrecking everything. Less common ways are the piston clips and ring snags. So he's saying it's not as much mechanical failure as it is either dirt getting in, not enough oil. Really those two things. So you're probably not going to have piston clips and ring snags as often as you're probably not putting enough oil in it or dirt got into it and it's wrecking the cylinder wall. Yeah, I could totally see that being a problem where, because really everything I've ran it pretty hard, and I had one engine that seized on me, and it didn't really show anything as far as breakage of the actual internal parts. Next up is what Steven has to say. If your motor truly seizes up and won't turn, you can always fill it up with Marvel and let it sit for a day or two. Then drain it, and it should break loose easily. So it gets in there and kind of lubricates everything and, helps to get some movement in there, right? Also, if you get all kinds of carbon buildup, you can just clean the top of the piston with some brake clean, and it will free up fairly easily. I suggest a cheap endoscope. Lets you take out the plug and look inside without taking everything apart. Nice video, Tony. Keep up the great work. So what he's saying is the top of the piston gets that black carbon buildup, and sometimes that junk can get into the side walls and start wearing pads in there that could, seize up the engine. So he's saying if it truly seizes up and there's junk in the, the moving parts, using that Marvel, which is like an engine restorer, filling up with that and then breaking it loose. So that's something that you could try. Thanks, Steven. Next up is what Edward has to say. He said, mine seized up after the first 10 minutes of running. So this sounds like a new engine, and he was just getting it going. So mine seized up after the first 10 minutes of running while at idle. Okay. I was able to break it loose by popping the clutch while riding it downhill. No problems after it started again, still running fine. So that sounded like a clutch issue possibly. So that's one of the things that we'll run into is I just got in a bunch of clutch rebuild parts. So this may help some of you. So you can see I got a box here direct from them. Everything to rebuild the clutch. You can see we have the clutch plate, new gear. You can even see we're going to replace clutch pads, things like that. I want to go deep on this stuff. Even pulling apart the engine and replacing the spring and everything. Yeah, you can see we got kind of all the clutch rebuild parts in here. That's gonna be fun, right? All right, so if yours seizes up, it might be a clutch issue, and especially if it's new, things are not adjusted yet. That's up to you to fine tune everything. It should basically work, but you got to go in and really fine tune things to get it to work optimally. And I had mine where the clutch was real stiff, and then after a while it got real spongy and everything broke in and started working properly. I got to go in and make those adjustments. But in his case, it was just idling, and it seized up and wouldn't turn. But once he rode downhill, he popped it loose and it broke that thing loose. So so that's a goal. We're gonna do a video coming up that will be all about rebuilding your clutch assembly. Thank you, Edward. Next question is Phillip. He says, have you ever saw something in the clutch cause one of these to lock up? So that's a good indication of the previous comment of, yeah, sometimes it is the clutch. We'll get into that in a future video. We'll totally rebuild a clutch and you'll understand it from from each end of the clutch on how it fully works. I think that's a missing gap with a lot of people, is you're not absolutely sure how the clutch works, and maybe you're kind of fearful of pulling it apart like I was in the beginning. I was like, oh, if I pull this apart, I'm gonna mess up the whole spring and everything. It'll be fine. We'll go through it. We'll figure it out together. I'll show you. I'll walk you all the way through it, and then you'll know how your clutch works and you won't question it any longer. Thank you, Phillip. All right, Scott has to say something on air leaks. He says, air leaks are a big problem with new builders. Running lean due to air leaks and not knowing can kill a motor. So in my video of testing the rear sprockets, we'll put a link right here, you can hear in there that the engine is revving really high, which actually helped me to the test that I was doing to get like the proper RPMs for the short distance that I was going. But I do not recommend running like that all the time, okay? The reason for that was I did run the idle a little high, but I was using one of those offset intakes. You're better off using a shorty billet intake with the O-ring so that it seals properly, okay? So if you're running offset intake because your carburetor is kind of sticking against the seat post or something, get a shorty and try to fit everything in there that way. But what happens with air leaks, I believe, is the fuel becomes too lean. It's a lot of air, a lot of fuel. Everything's moving fast. The idle is high. Heat builds up, and therefore it can trash the motor, okay? And that's basically scores the cylinder wall and everything like that and just wrecks everything because it's not running optimally in the right temperatures and RPMs and all that stuff. So thank you, Scott, for that one. Other notes that I have just thinking about this and what is the, what could be potential problem is clutch adjustments. Like I was saying earlier, we're going to go through a total clutch rebuild and try to wrap our minds around clutch adjustment fully. I think there's a lot of nuances to it with your clutch lever, all the way down to the adjustment screws and everything like that, your cable length, your bucking bar, having the ball in there behind the bucking bar, just one thing that leads to the other, right? So clutch adjustments. I think that can cause a lot of reasons for an engine to get seized up. Next up is a newly installed engine. Well, this is something like, they were saying with air leaks. If it's a newly installed engine and you're not sure how it sounds when it's running, just like I was in the beginning, I was like, how's it sound, guys? Right? Like, how's it sound? You got to know how things sound, because if you're having an air leak and it's revving too high and you think maybe that's supposed to sound like, because you're like, well, aren't these the same as chainsaw engines? Like, well, yeah, but no. You don't want to run like that all the time. Let's see. Other clutch issues. Clutch, this would be like that comment about clutch is sticking and then he had to go down the hill to break it loose. Dirty air. So if this is where stuff is getting into your carburetor, scoring it. So yeah, these are the main reasons for an engine seizing. So there you have it. That's insight from the community and what I've discussed with the team. Just like what are the problems that typically cause an engine to seize. So I think it mostly leads to, again, having the proper oil to fuel ratio, right? That 40-to-1 is that happy medium. You can add a little more oil if you want, so that way you get a little richer mix. Having a good air filter on there. Now, I'm guilty of this one. I run mine wide open because I just figure, well, I want a lot of air going in there. I think it mostly leads to, again, having the proper oil to fuel ratio. Making sure that your engine's clean. You're not sucking a bunch of dirt in there. When you're riding and when you're testing your bike. It probably happens more, because you get airflow by you. It probably happens more when you're testing and you got the bike sitting there and maybe you got it on a stand and you're running it, right? And it's just environment, you kick up dirt around it if you don't have your air filter on. But it sounds like junk gets in the engine, causes it to seize up way more than broken parts. Okay, rings, clips, anything like that. And then it sounds like the next thing is clutch issues. Just binding it up somehow, right? So in a future video, what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll rebuild a clutch, and we'll talk about clutch adjustment all the way through. I may do a couple of short videos just to gather some information on people's experience with this, because I know my experience is because I know people have run into things that I may not have, and I want to add that into the video. So at the bottom of this video, please comment any clutch issues that you've had that have really helped you have a healthy clutch mechanism, because I could even know, your clutch lever, your bucking bar, the ball behind the bucking bar, the right place to, have your cable adjusted to. There's just so many things in that chain that need to be spot on to work efficiently. So let's dive into that. Comment below any clutch issues that you've had so that I can add them into the next video. From everyone here at BikeBerry, we appreciate you. Let's roll.